As a writer, should you start a YouTube channel in 2025? Now, it's a question that's asked practically every year. Same as every other question that's like, is blogging dead? Or will writers be replaced by AI? For the past years, those have been questions that have come up, or basically the first quarter of the year. And it's a valid question, especially for writers, because if there's one thing that every writer wants, it's to be able to have an audience that reads their work and recognizes them for the work that they do. This is a writer's dream. And so, as writers, I guess the question now is writing still a viable career path? Can you still earn a living writing? And of course, the short answer would be yes. But the thing about writing now is that it's much harder than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago, especially with the rise of AI. And so the question is, how can you differentiate for yourself from AI as well as still gain an audience through your writing? The first thing I want to point out is that when you think about writing, writing is basically just you being able to convey a message to your audience, convey a truth to your audience, convey some knowledge, to teach, to entertain, or to tell a story. And writers may have a way with words, but words can also be expressed through video, through audio, and through other mediums other than just plain text. And this is one of the reasons why writers should seriously consider starting a YouTube channel. The second reason is actually discoverability. So when you think about it, YouTube is the second largest search engine next to Google. And when you think about Google and what it takes basically to get into the first page of Google, to rank number one, it takes a lot of SEO knowledge or search engine optimization. You have to be an expert at how to be able to use keywords to your advantage and how to be able to write content that sticks and that captures the attention of readers as well. So much so that it's able to catapult you to the first page of Google. And now these days, with so much content being put out, it's harder and harder to do. It's harder and harder to rank on the first page of Google. That's not to say that it's impossible. When you think about it, it takes about at least 6 months to be able to rank your content enough so that you can get consistent and continuous organic traffic. With YouTube, it's a little bit different, especially now. You've probably seen a lot of creators saying that YouTube is on easy mode. I'm not sure per se if it is easy mode, but I have noticed on my homepage that more and more small-time creators and even new creators are popping up on my feed. And that's not an accident. You will almost never see that on the first page of Google. And that's why discoverability for writers will be so much easier on YouTube than it is on Google. Or even when you think about other platforms like Medium. Medium has its own community, has its own ecosystem basically, its own algorithm that in a way works as well for writers to be able to be discovered throughout the platform. And it also pays a significant amount to writers that are successful on that platform. But even Medium has had its problems recently in terms of the algorithm. I've read recently that there have been some algorithm changes made to Medium to try and flag AI content, basically. But the problem with that is that a lot of writers are reporting that even though they've never used AI, they claim to have never used AI on their platform, they themselves are still getting flagged as AI, and hence their earning potentials have dropped significantly. And so now they're calling out Medium for this and asking them to try and fix the problem so that they're not as affected by this algorithm change. Now with YouTube, when you think about YouTube, it also has about 2.7 billion users a month. And of those 2.7 billion users, there's about 14.9% that are millennials, or my age bracket basically. And those millennials spend about 20 or 10 to 20 hours per week watching online videos. That's a whole lot of hours in a week watching videos just like this. And so it's captured a lot of people's attention. And quite frankly, when you think about that amount of time spent on YouTube and the platform, when you think about videos like this that are what, 10, 15, sometimes 30 minutes long is just a fraction of the amount of time that people spend on YouTube. So the chances of people watching your video on this platform are actually relatively high compared to them finding you on Google based on a search or keyword search. And when you think about your Google search results as well, when you type in something, you want to learn about something like how to cook a specific recipe, oftentimes at the top, you'll also find YouTube videos that are being featured on the Google platform. So discoverability is twice as good as if you were just promoting and writing on your blog. Another reason why I think writers should start their own YouTube channel is because video consumption in general is much higher. And I've worked in digital marketing for almost 10 years now, and I've seen it go higher and higher and higher. I used to think that, this was just a phase. It would go away soon and everything would go back to normal and people would go back to reading basically. But apparently that's not the case. Less and less people are reading now, and more people are consuming other things such as video or podcasts or even audiobooks. Even I myself, who never listened to audiobooks in the past, have actually found that they're very good to listen to. Even podcasts, and the amount of information that you'll find in podcasts that can help teach you certain things. Audio is so much easier to consume compared to reading, because to be able to listen to something, whether it's a book or a podcast or even a video like this, while you're doing your chores, basically while you're washing the dishes, while you're doing the laundry, it's something you can multitask with compared to when you're reading a book. Now, not to take away the joy of reading a book, because I love to read books myself. It's just a whole different thing. And it's something that people these days are much more attuned to and used to compared to just plain reading. And so this is another reason why I encourage writers to really give YouTube a chance, just like I'm giving YouTube a chance. Because for me, basically the main thing that I want to get out of YouTube is that I want to be able to share my message, my knowledge, share my voice basically with people who would want to hear it or who are willing to hear it. And I'm sure that's the case with a lot of writers who basically want to sort of unleash that creativity within them and try to express it, whether that's on the page or on video. Now, another reason I really encourage writers to start a YouTube channel is because there is actually the option for a faceless YouTube channel. Now, what are faceless YouTube channels? Basically, they're those channels where it's not just a talking head like this one, where you're watching somebody speak on a certain topic. Rather, a faceless YouTube channel is what it sounds like. There's no face. You don't show your face to anyone. And there are several ways of doing this. One way is to just use slides instead of recording yourself speaking. So you can have a presentation, and you can go through those slides or images or videos or stock photos and stock videos. Basically, you can splice them all together, create a YouTube video, and just narrate over that. Another way to do it that I've seen people do is they have avatars, basically. A lot of gaming channels use these 3D avatars, although that's a more complicated way to do YouTube, but they basically don't show their face either. So they have these 3D avatars that they use to be able to convey basically their emotions. Others use cartoons, and they animate cartoons. Basically, if you know how to animate or if you like drawing, that could be another avenue for writers to start their own YouTube channel. But basically, there's no excuse now. Even if your reason is that you're camera shy or that you're not good at speaking, the fact is you can go without the camera and you'd still be able to find an audience that resonates with your message. The final reason why I encourage writers to start a YouTube channel, because it's the best way to avoid that social media hamster wheel. I mean, I've worked as a social media manager for 5 or so years. More than 5, actually, yeah. Yeah, if I remember, more than 5 years, I worked as a social media manager, and to this day, I hate social media. Let me just say that out loud. And I hate the fact that you have to constantly churn out content that has a short lifespan, basically. And you have to do this every single day. in and out, in and out. Just churn out content every single day for the sake of likes and engagement. And sometimes, or more often than not, that engagement doesn't really do anything for your brand. And so it's this hamster wheel that you keep running around in circles over and over and over again. And you just can't get out of it because once you stop running, the machine itself stops. And I've seen it happen over and over again on social media, where you stop posting for a while because maybe you're burnt out. And then it takes so much effort just to get things rolling again. And as a writer, that's not the thing that you want to be doing, basically, right? You don't want to be on a social media hamster wheel, burning yourself out at both ends of the candle, and basically just running out of steam at the end. Because when you think about it, when you think about the stats, basically, for all the different social media platforms out there, they're very short-lived. For example, X or Twitter, the lifespan of a tweet is basically around 40 minutes. For Facebook, the lifespan of your post is about 76 minutes. For Instagram, it's much longer because you get about 19 to 20 hours. But for YouTube, the lifespan of a single video on YouTube is about 8 to 9 days. And in those 8 days, I mean, that's not even the maximum. Because, again, you have to go back to the idea that YouTube is a search engine. So if someone searches for a specific thing that's related to the kind of content you're doing, they will find that content eventually. Because YouTube still acts as a search engine. Compared to when you try to search something on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, it's much more difficult to find something related to what you're searching for. And sometimes there's irrelevant content that appears as well when you do a search on those other social platforms. But if you compare it to YouTube, 8 days seems like a lifetime compared to 40 minutes in a tweet, right? So as a writer, you could be tweeting several times a day, all these words that you're trying to express, all these ideas that you're trying to share with the world, but they only last for 40 minutes. And they're not even searchable. But once you start posting all these things on YouTube, one way or another, people will find them. And people can keep going back to them. And people can continue to find them even years later on, or years down the road. They will continue to find each of your videos, and they'll also be able to see the journey that you went on from when you started until the present. So if you're a writer, and you're thinking about writing for a living, or you want to make a living writing, I mean, don't just box yourself into the idea that writing has to be words on a page. Remember, there's also the idea of script writing. And a lot of YouTube creators have script writers that basically write the scripts that they would speak on these videos. So you could do the exact same thing but for yourself. You know, you write your script or you write your blog post and then you just speak onto a camera everything that you wrote. The difference is only slightly. It's still your words, it's still your message. It's just that now you're using your voice in a whole other way. So if you're like me and you're looking to make a living writing, or you're looking to put your message out there for the whole world to see, I do recommend starting a YouTube channel. And the thing about starting a YouTube channel is that you don't really need any fancy equipment. I mean, so many other creators out there have said the same thing. You don't need a great camera, you don't need a great microphone. Some people just record on their phones, basically, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I'm recording on my phone. And that's the thing. Basically, you don't need any fancy tools. Just like writing, all you need is a piece of pen and a piece of paper. When it comes to recording a video for YouTube, you only need something as simple as your phone. So I suggest you stop waiting, stop procrastinating, and just get out there, try it out, try to upload 3 to 5 videos, and see how it goes. See how it feels for you as a writer to be able to share your message in a whole new way. And, just enjoy it. Because at the end of the day, the job of a writer is really to share information, to teach, to tell a story, or to convey a message. And if that's through video, if that's through audio, through a podcast, I encourage you to go out and do the same. Because there's no better time than now to actually get started on YouTube.